So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our line of action on the figure. This is a good indication of how we place this figure on this piece of paper. So let us begin. Let us begin, travelers. So we're just going to go in. Now, lately, to speed up my process, I've been trying not to just do the thumbnail. I'm just kind of just going in with it. But many times you probably do want to do a thumbnail, especially if you get commissions, if you get hired to do a project. They're probably going to tell you to do 20, 10, 5 thumbnails, maybe even a couple thumbnails if you're, if they like it enough. But most of the time they like to pick the things. But yeah, let's just go into it now. So we're just going to... Let me think about this. Okay, so this is our line of action. Everything we're building is from this point right from now on. We've indicated this. So now the problem about these pencils, by the way, is these pencils are kind of tougher to erase, and this is the very reason why people don't like to use these things. But actually that's the very reason why I do like to use these things, because it kind of, I wouldn't say it almost forces me to start using all of these things, but that's kind of what these things do. Now you can erase them, but you just can't erase them all the way. So, but actually one of the reasons why I also did start using these pencils is because there were some inks that I have done, and unfortunately when I showed them to some people, they were like, "Oh, did you print this out?" I was like, "Are you kidding me? I straight up inked this thing out." So that's actually one of the big reasons why I started doing things with the underlayer. And I actually like to have the underlayer show through the piece, because it actually shows that this is actually a physical drawing. Because many times if I just do just the straight ink, people just think I just printed it out, which is weird. And it was just it tripped me out. I was like, wow, okay. I was like, wow, you guys thought I printed that thing out. All right, it's like, can't even tell it's an original. That's the crazy thing, right? I guess that's kind of where we're at in our society at the moment, right? We can't even tell if something's original or not, in terms of like if it's actually traditionally done. So we're vaguely going to indicate our head proportions. Now I'm actually going to bring in this pencil for this, just because this proportion grid is very, very important in the construction of the human figure. Now in the construction of the human figure, there are some baseline landmark shapes that we can understand, right? And it's the head, the torso, and the pelvis. These 3 baseline landmark shapes are what establish the 3 immovable masses. Now most mammals, if you actually observe most mammalia in the natural world, actually all revolve around the 3 immovable masses. Now the 3 immovable masses, if you can see, you see a lion, right? A lion has a head, they have a torso, and they have a pelvis. Now the thing about these 3 immovable masses is that all of these 3 immovable masses, they wedge in and out of one another. And there's also only a certain parameter that these 3 immovable masses can move, right? Because like this spine, well, I guess if you break your spine, right? If you break your spine, then that movable mass could probably get really crazy. Now, there are a lot of parameters of these 3 immovable masses, but, let's go in here. Create a fit. I'm an original, not a bot. I know, you're a real one, dude. So we're vaguely, and by the way, why I'm using this pencil right here is because this pencil is very much easier to erase, right? So right now what I'm doing is, by the way, we're going to be using the Michelangelo proportion grid. Now, the reason why I've learned the Michelangelo proportion grid is because I actually studied George B. Bridgman. The reason why I studied George B. Bridgman is because one of my favorite artists, Frank Frazetta, that's actually who he studied. He studied George B. Bridgman. Though a lot of artists actually do study George B. Bridgman, but there's actually kind of 3 schools I've been noticing. It's either people go under the George B. Bridgman, or they go under the Andrew Loomis, or they go under Glenn Vilppu. I've been noticing that many artists, I guess in terms of contemporary figure drawing, that's kind of like those 3 schools. Now the thing is that all of these guys, do things a little bit differently, right? So George B. Bridgman, he was very much wedging and about the three movable masses. Andrew Loomis was much more about like perspective. He constructed figures in a different fashion, which I actually didn't really learn too much of. So the method that we're using is George B. Bridgman. Now the thing about George B. Bridgman is he actually did study Michelangelo. So that's kind of where we have the lore of where we're constructing these figures from. Okay, so let's begin. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5. I actually kind of placed that pretty good. So from this 7.5 proportion grid, you can actually hardly see it. Maybe I should make them a little bit more distinct. So we got 1, 2. Now, by the way, please take everything I say with a grain of salt too, because I'm not like an art teacher. I have no degrees whatsoever. I don't even have. I did terrible in all my schooling actually. So, but if you want, you can probably download these things for free. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and so this parameter right here. See this 4? This is where our 3 immovable masses are going to be placed within here. Now there's so many variables, right? We can do, back view, we could do a side view, we could do a 3/4 view, we could do a straight view, right? So what we're gonna do right here is, this is also a very big distinction of, are we gonna draw a female character? Are we gonna draw a male character, right? A big one is the shoulders, right? Now I know this is controversial in our day and age, but I guess from what I was taught is that generally most females are able to birth children. I guess I need to word these correctly. The thing is that most females are genetically inept to birth children, right? So the thing is that they generally have. Now this is generalizations. There's many different variables between all this, right? But generally, the reason why females have a bigger pelvis is because they need to birth children, right? So a quick indicator of this is just these 3 movable masses. What we're going to do right as we speak right here. So we're going to do our first immovable mass is going to be the torso, which we're going to just block it in right there. We're going to so this is the one I'm tying, and now I'm going to bring in what I was talking about, right? So if I was going to draw a female character, I would probably draw my female character with a bigger pelvis, but with this one we're actually going to be going with. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and see how this is the 4 mark right here. Now this is the 4. The 4 mark is actually kind of like the end of the pelvis. We could say, right? And that right there, that line right there, if we were going to draw a female character, maybe we could draw it like that, and then draw the torso a little bit smaller. Now there are some hypothetical analogies that some people have looked into, right? They've peered into the history of human nature and where we, were once cave-dwelling peoples, some say, right? And we were out there in the lands, hunting for food and, hunting for, all these things. And the thing is that some people said this is actually why males actually started getting bigger chest things, because we had to throw spears. And we had to throw, we had to put, and stuff like that. And then what ended up happening is then when females would get pregnant, a female couldn't be like, well, I guess now all this is all hearsay, right? I don't know if this is actually true. I've just heard this from other artists and stuff like this. So please take everything I'm saying with a big grain of salt. But the thing is, what some people said is that, like, when the females would get pregnant and stuff like that, right? Well, they couldn't just go out and run around and hunt, woolly mammoths and stuff like that. So we would have to, you know, they'd kind of be more by the base camp, you know, like kind of picking berries and stuff like that. And then the males would have to go out there and basically hunt the meat and stuff and bring it back to camp. Now, the thing is, in our modern society, we don't live in a hunter-gatherer society anymore. So, in some regard, maybe this is potentially maybe one of the reasons why you know, maybe people are questioning maybe their physical nature, right? Maybe they're a little bit more confused, right? Whereas maybe if we were thrown out in the wilderness, maybe we would go back to our natural kind of tendencies, some say, right? I don't know. I kind of do know what I'm talking about, but please take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I did not figure any of this stuff. This is from some figure drawing artists. They're crazy. So like, I mean, maybe not crazy, but you know, just analyzing, you know, just studying the human figure and stuff like that. You start thinking about things, right? And you're like, okay, well, why is that like that or like this? And you know, anyway, let's keep going. I'm really slacking right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here's actually a big landmark that I always try and remember. Now I actually did mess some of these up. Look at this. I actually did mess some of these up. So let's redo some of these. Let's go. Actually, I think I almost messed that up. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I messed it up right there. 6, 7. 7.5. It's actually more down there. You said lat pull downs. I could throw spears for chest growth. Yes, that's the yeah. The latissimus dorsi is actually if you get into bodybuilding, right? The lats are actually right here on the figure, and they're actually a very hard muscle to build. But yeah, actually, the thing is the reason why they're so hard is actually they wrap around. They're actually a huge muscle. If you look at the latissimus dorsi, they actually go behind the back, and that, you know, some people call them shark fins or sting. What do they call them? Either shark fins or something like that. You know, it's like when you see a bodybuilder, and it's like there's like, and that's kind of what this is actually also what causes the V taper right here, right? Oh yeah, anyway, so man, it's actually really hard to talk while I'm drawing. I feel like that's kind of why when I start getting all like, it's like, this is taking me a really long time to draw this thing now. Whereas I feel like if I just start like, just kind of being more like goofy, I feel like I'm like trying to like be more analytical, and it's not really working out because I'm like being really slow right now. So let's just speed this up. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.5 is a very big landmark. Let's do it with this pencil because it is easier to erase. 5.5 is a big landmark because this actually shows us, or actually depending on the variables that you're using and the parameters that you're using, but the 5.5 segment right here is actually the end of the kneecap. Now the end of the kneecap is a very important one because that's just a base landmark, right? So since we know that, and so generally what I start doing from this point right here is we'll just cut this in half with the pelvis, basically, you know, so I know that that's probably, you know, basically where the crotch is at, right? But from this 5.5 point segment, we know, you know, we could put, okay, well, that's where probably a knee is. And then since we see that this line is going into perspective over here, you know, imagine if there was a horizon line in this, we can see that this is kind of, if this is trailing off into the perspective line, right, we can know, okay, well, this guy's probably in a somewhat front pose, but not completely, so we know that that's not going to be completely on the 5.5 point, so we could probably push it up there just a little bit, right, because that one's pushed up a little bit right there. That probably make no sense whatsoever, but then we'll go in, and so I know that now I actually don't remember what muscle that is, but I know that there's this muscle that wraps around the leg right there. Okay, so we got that one. Got this one. So we got our legs right there, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our shin bone. And so for some reason, I don't know, well, this is kind of in Bridgman if you start learning about it, right? is, well, also the thing about Bridgman is when you get into the figure drawing, what Bridgman starts talking about is you could build the human body kind of like a building, right? And so what we're almost building this tower structure, right? Because in reality, there is weight put upon the human body, right? And these muscles that we have, the bones that we have, they all support this structure of weight bearing, right? And so a big one is once we do this part, I know Bridgman started talking about, like, he said something about like the shin bones, right? So the shin bones are kind of like another landmark that we can remember, and the shin bones kind of just like, they always curve. If you look at the bones of the shin, they actually curve like that, right? And so since we know that there's this this perspective point that goes down, and by the way, you can do all this mathematically as well. Now see, if you were doing this in a marble sculptor aspect, marble sculpting is very, very gnarly because you only have one shot at it, right? In some degree. I guess there are some elements that I think I have heard some people say they grind down the marble and you can kind of make this pulpus kind of stuff, but generally they want to do it in one shot, right? So what a marble sculptor would do is that they would like fully like measure everything out. They'd be like, okay, this is like this is like this is put in that perspective, and we're going to measure out all the perspective and stuff like that. But since we don't have that sort of time, because we're trying to do this in one sitting, or this drawing in one thing, we're just eyeballing things, and that's okay, right? And the other thing is, you don't have to even do all this stuff either. Some artists, they don't even do this stuff. Some artists, they can just go in and and by the way, this process is also a little different because this is kind of more like figure invention, right? It's almost akin to playing an RPG game, right? And like, this is our character select screen, right? And we almost build this character up, and then we get to clothe the figure. We get to put armor on the figure and choose the armor and stuff like that, right? Whereas, say, if you were getting more into like realistic drawing, which realistic drawing can use these parameters and stuff like this, but many times they're using a lot of reference, and you can you're just kind of copying the reference, right? Anyway, holy moly, I'm talking a lot. By the way, you can learn all this stuff on Jeff Watts, by the way. I've also learned a lot from him. So shout outs to Jeff Watts. You can look him up on YouTube. Very smart individual. So right now, I feel like I don't even want to talk. I just kind of want to just like draw. I feel like, so I'm sorry everybody. I feel like I need to get this done. I could talk throughout the whole thing, but it's just like, man, I'm like losing time here. Losing time up in here, everybody. So I'm sorry. Okay, so we got our feet. Okay, what are we doing here? So I kind of wanted to speed this up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, okay, so from here, right, let's think about this. Let's cut this in half. Oh yeah, so another landmark right here is 1, 2. 2 is actually at the end of the chest muscle, the pecs, right? Now the pecs actually wrap around right there, and then now we're going to get into the deltoids, right? Now there's actually the obliques right here. I forgot. So that's right there. There's the obliques, and then we got the abs right up in there, right? The lats go up in here, and they wrap around there. I forgot what muscle that is. What muscle is that? It's the I just think about it as the neck muscle, but I know it's called something else. I just can't remember it right now. But yeah, there is this neck muscle thing. But now what we're going to do is we're going to do our deltoids, right? So let us begin. So we're going to do our delts, right? Now the delts are actually built upon 3 segments, right? We have the front delt, we have the middle delt, and we actually have a back delt in the back, right? If you get into bodybuilding, you'll probably start seeing that most. I'm actually wondering if most bodybuilders would actually probably be very good figure drawing people, right? Just because they know their anatomy very well. We're just gonna do that. We're probably just gonna put a shield or something like that. Now the other thing that Bridgman started talking about as well is that Bridgman said it's always good to draw through the forms, right? So say, because I was thinking, let's put a shield right there, right? Now most people would be like, oh, can't we just do the shield and then just, you know, not have to draw anything underneath? But the good thing about drawing things underneath is we can see how it is actually working and how it is being constructed. How is this shield, how is the weight getting put on this shield? How is this person even holding the shield? How is the shield even getting, you know, situated? How is it even, you know, so that's kind of one of the good things about doing it that way. Okay, let's see here. Now this one's going to be challenging up in here. What are we going to be doing up in here, man? Let's cut that in half. The arms are, I feel like by the way, I think the arms are very hard. So take some time to think about the arms because there's literally so many. I mean, literally, we could have this arm going out. It could be like this. It could literally be almost like, think about all the different angles of the arm. So there's just tons of variables for the arms. I feel like the arms are probably one of the hardest parts, so I definitely try and slow down, think about it, especially with this pencil, because this pencil is a little bit harder to sharpen, harder to erase. So you want to kind of maybe take your time a little bit to think about what we're doing up in here. I'm probably just going to do like a floating sword or something like that, huh? So how would we do that? I don't think that would actually be. Okay. We got to think about forbearance as well. I almost got frustrated right there. We got to think about forbearance. We got to think about the Bible study we did today. Okay, so that's basically like a hand or something like that. Here's our deltoid, bicep, tricep, latissimus dorsi. Got our forearm muscle right there. Like that. Probably have our Bible somewhere up in here. And now, okay, so now we have this, right? We have something, right? Now it's kind of like playing an RPG game, right? Let me put this up on here, actually. New BMX video now. Actually, screw it. We'll just watch that same BMX video. Jay Miron, man, it's so funny. Those guys used to just like wear full-on armor, huh? People do not wear those things anymore, man. Just like full-on, just like, holy moly, that dude looks like straight up like a knight. That dude's straight up just like knighted out, bro. People do not do that anymore. But I think it's cool. Okay, what are we doing up in here? Okay, so let's think about the head. So the head's actually a big one too. Now, see how we did the circle right here? Well, we can cube this circle out. So we're thinking about this circle kind of like a sphere of Play-Doh, you know, kind of like clay, right? And we're gonna think about this as a square. Actually, no, not a, well, it is a square, but a cube. Thinking about this as a cube. So that's like that part of the cube. Let's split that in half. So he's going to be looking like that out. See? This cube's like that. And you can almost like think about, you can even just use this pencil almost kind of like a gauge of how this thing's going to be looking, right? Okay. Let's see here. Big shield. Bunch of flaming darts from the devil. The devil has been shooting a bunch of darts at this dude. The devil, Satan, Lucifer. Okay, so let's see here. So now we're gonna get into like the armor of God stuff, right? This is like This stuff is probably the most important part, by the way. This thing, the anatomy, all this stuff, most important. You can learn so much about this, right? And I still have so much to learn, right? Because there's so many muscles I don't really know exactly how they're working. Now, this is actually what's really crazy about if you start studying Bridgman. Bridgman understood how every muscle worked. He was like, and if you were to understand like how he would talk and stuff, he was gnarly, bro. If you think this is gnarly, this ain't nothing how compared to some figure drawing artists, man. Some figure drawing artists, they know exactly, okay, this is why we have this muscle. This is why this muscle started getting developed. This is why we have this muscle right here. This is why this muscle works right here, because it only has that range of motion and stuff like that. I don't really know that kind of stuff, so I'm only kind of, but some figure drawing artists are really gnarly like that. But now we're going to get into kind of like playing the RPG game element, right? Now the RPG game element is now we're going to go into like trying to glorify the Lord, right? How can we glorify the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, the Lord Jesus Christ, right? The Alpha and the Omega, right? Now one way I have tried to do it is now I try and do it with like the armor of God, right? The armor of God, we have the baseline set items, right? The set items would be helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth, boots of the gospel of peace, sword of the Spirit, which actually is the word of God, and that's actually why I'm going to do like some sort of floating Bible right here with like maybe a floating sword, and then the shield of faith by which we can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one. I don't know if the evil one is considered only as Satan, or is it the demons? Is it the evil spirits upon humanity? Is it the fallen angels? Which some people have said fallen angels could potentially be, or actually I've actually heard some people say aliens could potentially even be angels. So you take that with a giant grain of salt, right? But just really think about that, right? Imagine if there was maybe a sect of evil aliens and good aliens, right? What if they've been here for eons, right? And I guess right now we're kind of trying to go on the side of the Lord Jesus Christ, right? So the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So yeah. Which, by the way, the other weird thing is I've actually learned a lot of this stuff from other believers. So you take that as what you will, okay? How am I going to do this? The Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, the Lord Jesus Christ. Put the cross right there. Do I make any sense at all? I probably sound like a crazy person. I think most people just think I'm crazy, but oh well. I gotta not be ashamed of the gospel, right? We need to be bold as lions. Let us be bold as lions, everybody. What am I doing here? Let's see. I'm trying not to get stressed out. Okay, let me think here. What are we doing now? Let's do the... Now the other weird thing is, here's the other thing. I have had some people tell me that I am promoting violence with these knights. Now I really hope I'm not trying to promote violence, okay? The thing is, I'm gonna start, that's why I started putting actually the peace sign on these boots of peace, right? We're actually supposed to be promoting peace, right? Blessed are the peacemakers, right? But also, I think there's this element of, I think the Lord does strengthen us up to the point where, I'd like to think if the devil was gonna kill me and maybe cut my head off or something like that, or Satan or something like that, and that maybe I would potentially protect myself, right, in that situation. And I haven't had that comment in a long time, but I have had many people actually say that to me. You know, so I know there's like a weird thing like that, right? But what kind of sword can we do up in here, huh? That's the question up in here. Let's see what great it is. And then see how there's like this line right here? Somebody would like to just like take that line and, well, I guess we could have this in front of the Bible or something, just a little bit. He's like summoning the sword. What up, Joe Fate? How goes it, man? By the way, these guys right here are crazy. Those guys are like complete opposite of what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I wish I could ride like that. I just need to get the surgery, man. I don't even want to think about it. I need to just be thankful I can even ride, man. Holy moly, dude. I shouldn't even be riding right now. That's crazy, man. I literally do not have an ACL. Like, I don't know, man. What I'm kind of hoping for, actually, I ain't even lying. Like, I'm hoping that they make some sort of new surgery. Maybe there'd be some new non-invasive surgery for the ACL. That's kind of what I'm waiting for, too. I don't think it's ever gonna... Well, it might happen, but I don't know if... Okay, let's see. What am I doing up in here? Oh, that was funny. Man, there's so many more people back in the day. Look at that. Dude, Mike Escamilla, man, what's funny is this dude's still riding. That dude's a G, dude. Holy moly. The guys are crazy. Okay, I need to be focused. Let's see here. Built of truth. Yes. This will do a little satchel. Do a satchel leaf bag. See that guy right there? He's running like flatland bars. It's kind of crazy because like people back in the day, they would run like these really little bars. Holy moly, that guy just took it. But the thing is, I feel like I actually think those bars are actually safer, especially like if you're doing like gigantic airs, because a lot of people actually hit their head on their crossbar. But if you have that littler bar, the crossbar is actually lower, so it's actually, you have like probably a little bit more time to maybe save your head from getting hit, which I'm actually wondering if that's why a lot of the old vert guys actually use those bars like that. But they look weird. That's why I think that's why people don't like to use them anymore, because they just look strange. Okay, let's see. Let's do like a... shoulder pad. Let's do this something across. That's there. You were dropping bars today? What are you talking about? Like words? Peace sign right there. I think this dude's actually gonna have sandals. Daughter wanted me to perform for her friends. That's funny. Holy moly, that dude just... This is Dave Mirra, by the way. Holy moly, this guy was gnarly, bro. Jesus, that guy's freaking crazy, man. Just full send, dude. Man. Holy moly, that was crazy. Okay, I need to stay focused. We need to stay focused, okay. I guess it's for the viewers, you guys can watch that, but... Doing the helmet of salvation. I don't know which one I should do in here. Kind of want to do like wings. I always do that one though. Should we do the one? Now there's so many different varieties of helmet up in here. Like we could do a halo. We could do the wings like this, which I like the wing one. It's very Paladin-ish. I don't know which one we should do. Let's do the wing ones, I guess. No, maybe not. No, maybe not. Darn. I don't know, because like I feel like, see, now this is the problem now because I actually didn't put enough room. Because you know, like if I did the wing ones, I'm gonna just use this pencil real lightly, just because I'm actually not sure what I want to do right here. I always do these ones, but I guess it's just a very Paladin-esque helmet. Which I've drawn these helmets a lot, so. Or should we do like a halo? That's the question. Halo helmet or wing helmet? See, now this is kind of when like we can do like a... I don't know what kind of helmet we should put up in there. Ask her will do that. The wing one's just so kind of generic, but I think a lot of people like the wing ones. I'll do the wing ones. You can change it up a bit here. So now we're going to go with this one, and since I don't have to do a face, we can kind of actually speed this up. Actually, now we're getting into our second layer up in here now, a little bit, I guess. Now this layer is cool because you can erase it. Actually, I think I got this wrong, darn. I've done a helmet that's very similar to this one. I don't know, honestly, there needs to be more believers that just start streaming. That's what probably should happen. Is this the X game? Okay, I think I might get... This is a newer X Games. I might get copyrighted on this one. I need to change it. I can't watch like a newer video, I think. Because... Watch this one. This one. I'll revert one. Holy moly, this is an old video. Crazy. Let's see here. I guess we'll do it. Let's just go with this helmet. Actually, I think this helmet's too tall. It's too high. Right, yeah, it is, because it should be... See, and that's why that proportion grid, look at that. I went up over on that proportion grid a little bit, right? I mean, now the helmet should go a little bit up, but not too much. I almost kind of want to put like a halo on it. No, it's lame. Maybe? Nah, the halo looks weird. Yeah, it's like... Now we're playing the RPG game. Now this is kind of when it gets a little... We erase it, we try it, don't like it, try something else. Very Paladin-esque helmet right here. This is basically your generic Paladin helmet. I almost feel like I got that wrong right there. Now I can kind of start sculpting this out, but making sure we're in this parameter of the. But this is going to be a little quicker one because I can just. I mean, I guess I should put a bike in there too. I always forget that. That's actually always what I always forget. I just add a bike in here. That's actually why I like doing these characters, man. Add a bike in here, man. Just boom. Let it go. Even though I always just do the same like thing. Maybe I shouldn't do a bike right there, but that's true. I like putting the bike in there because I'm like, okay, well, I can try to acknowledge God in all my ways, right? I need to put a jacket on. It's cold now. Put the heater back on. Put the heater back on. I'm going to put a jacket on now. I like drawing bikes. This is hilarious. This dude's gnarly though, for sure. I'm trying to do the whole thing that Brad Rainey says and work on the hardest things first. Cultivating growth. I like that name, man. Let's grow, man. Let's grow. Let's grow up in here.
Introducing the Ferrero Rocher chocolate bar.
Let's do this hand up in here. Okay, so we're gonna work on our hardest parts first. So we're gonna think about the hand like a square. I mean, let's actually just zoom this in right up in here. Sorry, I actually have the heater on, so now it's blowing this piece of paper. Darn, I can't even get it up there. Oh, we're just gonna zoom it out and click a little bit. So we're gonna think about the hand like a, you know, the hand is kind of like a square, kind of like that, but it's like there's like a triangle on the square. It goes down like that, and that's the palm. And so from that, we can just figure out that that's the thumb. We're just building it up from this segment right here, right? Now, some artists do this very much differently. Sometimes they use circles, cylinders. I use the Bridgman method. The Bridgman method is basically just you just figure out the palm shape like that, and you just build it from that. I'm actually not very good at hands, but and then see how that that's actually the middle finger and then the ring finger. Now there's actually a big thing why, I mean, I always talk about it, but the thing is that if you're into marble sculpting, one of the reasons why they did that is because there's a little bit more structural integrity, because, you know, when you do it that way. Oops. Darn it, I totally got that wrong. Or just messing around right there. Actually, cultivating earth actually made me remind me of something. The seed is actually the word of God. I'm gonna actually put a little seed right there. Boom. It's like, ugh, just summoning the sword of the spirit. Okay. Now, this hand might be sticking out of the shield a little bit, so just a little bit. Oh, I did that wrong. Let's erase it. Now see how I erased it and I'm not erasing that bottom layer? That's why I like using these colored pencils. But the only problem that I don't like about it is now I have to, like, you know, you're kind of like almost like stuck with using and so let's do the palm. I didn't do the palm. I tried to not do the palm because I didn't want to draw the entire thing out, but it kind of messed it up right there, so okay, so it's like putting like a couple like dents up in here, like you kind of like blocked an attack. But yeah, this bottom layer is probably the most important part. Proportions and stuff. Okay, so we have our hardest parts done, right? Hand, face. Boom, 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 boom. Now everything else, now we're kind of on easy mode. Now it's like we don't have to stress as much because we have the hardest things done, right? I mean, that one part is going to be kind of hard. I still don't know how that's actually working, but... What is this? I thought this was a different X game. This is motocross now? What is this? Oh, I guess it's just a commercial. see, where am I at here? Let's do her neck. Let's put a little cross, like this dude's wearing like a little cross or something. Let's do the shoulder pad. Now, the shoulder pad is really cool because there's so many designs up on there. Now, I actually think I got that wrong. I actually think because he's lifting his hand up, it should be a bit different, but... Oh, darn, I just broke that lead. See, that's what happens. So if you press this pencil too hard, see, look at this. I just broke this lead, and watch. That's what happens. That's another reason why people don't like using these pencils. But now, since I just broke this lead, what I do is I have this other piece of paper right here, and we're gonna get this edge. See, there's this little edge. I don't ever draw with that strip, every time I hold the pencil, I try and hold the pencil at the same direction to keep that same edge, so we can use that edge to get the skinny line and that bigger line. Let's see, where am I at? I forgot. Wait a minute, let's see. Maybe I could put some sort of green leaf armor. Maybe not. Maybe not in this one. That's kind of lame. Oh well. I totally got this wrong right here. So we're going to try and go around the chest, and the chest is kind of like a barrel, right? Like if you see the ribs, you know, the ribs go up like that. So that's kind of like another like landmark, and that's actually the good thing about knowing that torso. It's like a big cavity where all our organs are just in there, right? We have our lungs, we have our heart, and that's actually, I think, one of the reasons why we have all these ribs right here protecting all these vital organs. I kind of want to like put some like leaf stuff in here. New song. Kind of don't like that, but we could change it. We don't have to strap. We always have to remember that if we do not like any of this stuff, we can erase it because we're using a pencil. This is not ink. Which I feel like that's why I stopped doing these characters, because I got stressed out. Breastplate of righteousness. I don't know how to... Oh, I'm just kind of scribbling. I don't know what I'm doing right up in there. Just making shapes. I like playing an RPG game. This RPG game's kind of faster though, because you don't have to grind for things. Well, I guess you do grind, but you just kind of just draw whatever item you want right away. Belt. Tabard. I like to do the tabard. The tabard just makes it way easier to... There's a lot of things you can kind of like, you know, like this shield. I don't have to draw all this stuff behind it, which we kind of did draw it behind it, but, you know, it saves a lot of time. Zoom this in a little bit more. Oh, and sometimes you don't have to always like redo it, but I always like to really make sure I'm on that edge. We're on the edge, boys and girls. The edge. Leaf bag. I always like the leaf bag, man. You see most of my characters, I put a leaf bag in it. It's so fun to draw. Actually, I want to listen to... Actually, that's I forgot the shoulder pad over here. I'm just putting some music on. I want to get this done. So I could just talk through the whole thing, but I'm like trying to just finish this fast now. Now the feet, I do know there is something with Bridgman too about feet. He said they're basically just like cubes. If you draw like the toes, they're kind of just like cubes. I remember him saying something like, or him talking, or writing something like that. trying to remember that. Basically, he's very cubed out. That's what Bridgman. He's like the master of just blocking everything out. Put a peace sign up in here, but see, also see how like, actually, I'm gonna actually change this. See how I did that right there? I feel like the shoulder pad, it's almost kind of like the graffiti thing, right? The shoulder pad, kind of almost indicates what we should do, like right here. Like, see, like that same size right there? And we could bring that same size right here. And it kind of brings in some balance. But we're also going to put a peace sign right here. Gospel. I messed that foot up, oh well. I don't know what I'm really doing right there. Some hair, hobbit hair on his feet. I think I messed this up. There's supposed to be like a lats, but there's also the breastplate, so I don't know, like, is there just a giant hole right there? I actually think I messed that up right there. Some flaming darts from the evil one. Satan has been running amok. Let's draw this bike because I kind of want to, I don't want to smear any of this stuff, so I'm just going to draw this bike and just kind of. Now with the bike, I always like to start with that head 2 part. Now if you were a bike designer, I know like a lot of people that build bikes, They actually start with this seat tube, but I don't actually do it that way drawing. Maybe I should do it that way drawing. I feel like, no, why I don't do it is because this front wheel is very important. And I feel like just this whole segment. But I know if you were actually making a bike, like a lot of people that make bikes, I think they start in this like diameter thing right here. I actually don't know, well I guess I do know why, because there's just so many connections, right? And there's so many angles, like the angle of the down tube, angle of the top tube, angle of the, you know, the seat stay, how much, you know, oh, there's a lot of angles right up in there. Oh wow, this thing's about to die. Let me plug this in. I'm gonna have to get a new cable. This thing's janky. I think we just watched this. Or did we watch this? No, this is the same thing. I don't know. Okay, let's draw this bicycle then. Okay, where are we? I like to start with the head tube. Head tube, and then the forks. I'm gonna be running 0 offset. Honestly, I ain't even lying, dude. I've been loving the 0 offset, dude. Zero's feeling good, man. Like, wait, did I mess that up? I think, yeah, I did mess that up. Has to be a little bit smaller. Actually, I need to bring my other pencil out. I should have cut that in half, and actually no, let's just, do the Flatlander for sure. Flatland's gnarly. I kind of want to do like 4-piece bars. Now we get to make our own geometry, boys. Woo-wee. I'm gonna be running a gyro. Pedals. Chainstay. There we go. Get our edge again. Right, let's go in. He's going to be running front brakes, by the way. I've gone into the realm of just full brake riding. I've always loved brakes. That's what I've always kind of wondered. I'm like, man, I've always just... I guess it's just because I grew up... Like, the scene that I was kind of in, it was like... It was actually weird. There was a split off. There was a bunch of people that were really, like, into the brakeless thing. And then, like, there was, like, this big segment of, like, just straight cable, like, racing kind of, like, just, I don't know, just brakes. And for some reason, I was always just gravitated towards, like, you know, like the Garrett Burns and Ruben Alcantara, and those guys always ran brakes, man. Like, I mean, was Ruben ever brakeless? I don't even think he was ever brakeless. I don't think Garrett Burns was ever brakeless either, honestly. And this is the kicker, man. I feel like the stem actually, if you know the lore behind it, this was the kicker, I think. There's a big kicker to the lore was because of a lot, just the, I don't know why. It was, I guess, out of all the parts, I don't know why it was the stem that kind of took off, but that's this front brake. Huh. Wait a minute, let's see here. I'm getting confused. Oh yeah, that is this front brake. Put a little gusset right there. That's what the Colt bikes have. They have a little gusset right there. Actually, a lot of bikes have that, but I just know for sure they have that little thing right there. Is there one at the bottom? Well, they do have one at the bottom. Interesting. I'm gonna get a little cable thing right there. It's kind of, it'd probably be what, 75. Looks like 75 degree. That actually looks like a flatland stem. That looks like 30, maybe even 25 millimeter. This is probably 8.75 bars. 29, 8.75. 0 degree offset forks. Front brakes. Bottom, this actually probably looks like a, probably just looks like a 20, honestly. Maybe 20.75. We'll do 18, actually let's do a big old sprocket. He's gonna be running like, I kind of want to do like the little, like 18. Yeah, we're gonna do 18. No, let's just do like a good, just 20. We'll just do a 28. Sorry, I'm listening to some crazy stuff. Let me put some different music up on here. Been listening to some crazy soundtrack from Diablo 2.
If you're finally ready to take a trip without the kid.
Man, vert riding's gnarly though, for sure. Shout out to those vert riders, man. Those guys are crazy. Even just dropping into vert is scary. Give the boys a shout out. A little Easter egg. The only bike company that's ever hooked it up. I gotta do it very vaguely though, but if you're a BMX rider, you know. This is the only company that's ever hooked it up so far, so. In terms of like parts and stuff. Parts, frames. Oh, Toledo. How do I draw that? I guess it would be like that. You can't even tell what that is, but it's funny because if you were a BMX, you'd be like, what in the world? What is that? What does that say right there? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's just... What's going up in here? Okay, let's see here. Let's actually erase a lot of this stuff. Let's erase this proportion grid now. We don't need that anymore. Let's do this segment of the Bible. Let's honor it to the Lord. Sorry, Lord, if I did a bad job. Tried to acknowledge you in all my ways, man.
Your future starts now at WGU. For over 25 years, WGU has been helping people take their next step. Earn a respected degree from the nation's largest online accredited university. Start with a $2,500 New Year scholarship. Learn more at wgu.edu.
I always like just drawing bikes. It just makes it so much more fun for me. Just add a bike in the character. I think it makes it more fun. I don't know. I guess it's kind of cheesy, but let's actually start with the sword. What kind of hilts are we gonna do? Let's just do it just a normal hilt. It's kind of like reminds me of like the grip. See, that's actually one thing I learned from like graffiti stuff is like a lot of graffiti stuff, they like try to like, you know, there's this element right here, so then we balance it out over here, then we balance, you know, this width over here with over here, and you know there's a cross up in there, so we kind of balance that up in there. All sorts of little balancing things, balancing acts, right? I kind of wanted to do like the leaf thing, but I think today we're just going to do just like a normal sword. I'll use sword today. A little notch in there. And we'll do another one right there. Kind of just reminds me like we're just doing. Honestly, it's kind of weird. I almost feel like the graffiti pieces now are more stressful than these ones, because these ones I can erase. The graffiti ones I'm not even erasing. We're just going full bore into them. Now these, it's kind of funny. I feel like now it's weird. I think the graffiti ones are good practice. Let's do this Bible. Let's honor it to the Lord. Thousands of years of war. Imagining all the books that have just withered away into dust. But the Bible still is living, still holding strong.
Remember why you became a nurse? You wanted to help people. And girl, you're just getting started. You want to make a change?
The eons of dust, the dust of time, has eroded the many works of man. Let us offer our first fruits to the Lord of all our produce, not some, but everything, all of our produce. But I like to think anyway. Just because there is a proverb that says that. Okay, let's see here. Let's just kind of scribble this stuff in here. They're turning out pretty cool. I'm digging this character. I guess it's just because it's like more of the armored god thing. I have done so many of these armored god pieces that it's just like I kind of know what I already am doing, whereas a lot of the other ones I kind of don't really know the shape language. Like, you know, I've drawn this helmet probably 50 times. You know, I've drawn a shield probably 100 times. You know, I've done a lot of these shape symbols many of times. Now it's just where, you know, just changing it, you know, just doing it this way or doing it this way, or, you know. Guess we do a Bible verse too. A Bible verse right there. Let's see here. Where's my boat? Oh, pretty fun. Okay, let's see. Let's look at a verse. Let's go into Ephesians 6, everybody. Where is it? Ephesians 6. There we go. I think I want to do this one right here. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts that you want. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, we're almost done, everybody. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. PlayStation. Where? Wait a minute, that's not burning. Wait, is this burning? What's going on? It's burning. Darn, I don't know how I'm gonna write this verse in here. In there. I might have to change it to let's do this. She old. Did I spell it wrong? SHIELD. Of faith, comma, with which you can extinguish can Okay, let's see here. Acknowledge him, comma. And he shall direct your paths. Just know you can get some paper, some pencils, and you yourself as well can play Bible BMX adventures, where we can try to give glory to the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, the Lord Jesus Christ. Let's see here. Where am I going to sign? I guess I can't really do a longer signature on this one. I guess we're going to just do a smaller signature. Just do one right here, I guess. Or we'll do one right... yeah, we'll do one right there so it's kind of clean right there. Do the small signature today. You know, but because like I'm pretty sure if you went to like most art schools, they're gonna be telling you not to use this stuff. Don't use this. Don't use a lot of art schools. They tell you not to use these pencils because they tell you not to use these ones because you know, but you know. So just take it with a grain of salt. Take everything I do with a grain of salt. But if you want to try it, you can. You know, I'm just showing you guys so you can do it as well. So, so don't be afraid to try as well. Man, this character, I actually really like this character. This character turned out really cool. I really like this one, actually. I didn't really get too stressed out on this one. You can tell. I can actually tell the ones I get stressed out on and the ones I don't. I'm actually going to do one little addition. Let's see here. A little bit more. Oh, wait. That's weird. That's so strange. They changed the orange color on these colored pencils. What the heck? That's really weird. That's strange. They used to not... Look at this. Look at the orange colored pencil. It's like... This looks like red. That's weird. They used to be way more orangey. Now, I don't really put a lot of colors in a lot of my drawings. I'm just going to put like little shoop. Sure, it's like the flaming arrows. Oh, dude, I'm about to end the stream. I'm sorry, dude. I guess I could raid somebody else, huh? Hey, what are we watching? I need this is probably copyrighted or something. I need to be careful in that. Awesome. So we got. Let's think about the helmet of salvation, which I actually think goes into a lot of the Paladin lore, right? Helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belts of truth, boots of the gospel of peace. That's why I put that peace sign right there. Sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Luke 8:11 says the seed is the word of God. The shield of faith by which we can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one. And then in all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your paths. You know, we can acknowledge him in all of our ways, right? You know, that's why I added this bike. I know it sounds weird, but that's, you know. Probably doesn't make any sense because I feel like some people go, why is there a bike in there, you know? Well, I'm trying to acknowledge him in all my ways, okay, so. Forbearance 5-hour stream, yeah, this is the forbearance one. Okay, let me see if I can get a thumbnail. I'm actually going to, I guess I'm just going to get the thumbnail like this today. Maybe I should get, I guess, yeah. There we go. Point to the crown, I guess we'll just do it like that. I'm trying to just think about how I'm going to do this. It's just like that. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Apologies if I said anything wrong. I can't edit any of this stuff out, so we're just going for it. But I hope you guys have a good one. I guess we're gonna do a little bit of a light thing just so you guys can see. If you guys want to see like some like close-up stuff, I mean, maybe we should have that like kind of more like the thumbnail or something like something more like that. We actually might have that as the thumbnail. Yeah, maybe that for the thumbnail. And just remember, if you get into drawing these characters, I learned this from actually another believer, Brad Rainey. Just start with the hard parts first. Generally, the head, the hands, and then everything else can kind of chill out a little bit, right? Let's see if there's any believers streaming at the moment. Let's see here. Let's see if I could raid somebody. No, there's no he was really streaming at the moment. I guess Pally Cole's still streaming. I already rated him yesterday. I guess we'll raid this guy. This guy is a believer. He reads the Bible every single day. Charles Q. Banks. I've never raided this guy before. Generally, he's not streaming right now, but we're actually going to raid him. How do I do this? Stream manager. So, you guys don't have to watch him, by the way, but if you guys want to. He's playing... What is he playing right now? Elden Ring. He's playing Elden Ring. But this guy is a believer. You can probably ask him, like, maybe what his favorite verses are or something like that. But yeah, I know this guy actually like reads the Bible like he does Bible reading streams. But the thing about this guy is he has such a crazy voice, man. He's like I don't know if he's a voice actor or something, but he has a lot of a good tonality with his voice. So peace out, everybody. I hope you guys have a good one and keep trying your best and have fun. We're gonna raid this guy. Right now. He's playing Elden Ring, by the way. Let's see if I should type something in. Thanks for sharing the word of God. I've seen you stream Bible reading. Keep it up. I'm outta here though. Farewell. Is that on his? I don't know if that's on his. I don't know if that's actually on his stream or something. Oh well. Farewell, everybody. I'm out of here.